Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 301.
301.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We're heading into spring travel now. It's hard to believe, although it feels like summer. So if you're coming to Walt Disney World like this week, it's almost 90 degrees, or it has been for like the last week. And I don't think that's changing too much. So definitely check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for any good deals. There's spring and summer deals at Walt Disney World. Of course, also at Disneyland, there's some offers. So definitely check out their website. And Flower and Gardens coming up March 6th. So this is such a great time to come.
Only about a week away.
I know. You know, those the flower bed, it is a winter flower bed. So I don't even know when they're going to swap that out. They're probably going to swap it out pretty early because it's like summer here now.
Well, speaking of Epcot and speaking of that flower bed, here it is.
I just, this always happens about 3 weeks ahead of time. But first we're heading to Imagination, and then we'll talk about the flowers.
That's right, because now I was not there this day, but you were there, and you found out that Vanellope and Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph were meeting in this new location in the ImageWorks.
You were at Daytona.
That's right.
And so then I spent so much time here because I am the photographer and the videographer, so I probably am they're probably like, why is she here so long?
Much harder when you have to do both things.
Plus, I don't like to talk to characters, so
what a job.
Didn't know. I just like to get a little video of them.
You did a fine, for someone who hates talking to the character. I don't know if you hate it, but you just don't like it.
I'm not good at it. So, it's not a hate. I just don't do it. So here, it's really fun. I stood in that area like 4 or 5 times, getting them coming in and out and in and out.
So devoted. I'm so proud of you.
I had fun. I mean, it was a nice area, but it's funny because I went with Leah, and here we are. I went with Leah to the DVC lounge upstairs, and that portal that they come out of is very loud. It's like a rumble, and you can hear it really good upstairs. And Leah's like, "What's that?" And I said, "I think that's Ralph and Vanellope." It was like their 3rd day or so, and I had just seen their entrance.
And here they come. Now I noticed in this day that you have done the video, there looks like there's a little roped off area to keep people away from their entrance and exit. But when I was there, that was not the case a couple days ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't there a couple days ago. But, like on my Instagram when I post about it, somebody's like, oh, they need to do the Dreamfinder and Figment meet and greet. And I guess, it's nice that they have something at ImageWorks. Mm-hmm. So, because it's gotten a little bit, there's not so much going on here anymore. So I think the Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope meet and greet, they did a very nice job with it and has really livened up the area.
And all this time I forgot to ask you how the line was.
It wasn't, it wasn't bad. I went through it twice because I wanted to get Ralph and Vanellope. And again, I don't really talk to them. So just to be able to get them as I'm walking up to them and stuff. So maybe a half hour or so. It wasn't as bad as before at that time because I think guests didn't really know too much about it. And there I am. I gave the video camera to the attendant. They're really good about that. So if you want a little video of yourself, not that I usually do, but if you do, the attendant will take the camera or a video camera and, just point it in your general direction.
Well, anyway, I think you did a great job, and I do like this new location. It's perfect for them, so we'll see what the future is for the Imagination Pavilion. Here we're going to this is the very last weekend of the Festival of the Arts, and only one more day tomorrow, but we're going to take a look at some of our favorite things as we say goodbye to the festival, and it's the chalk art, the 2D chalk art, and we both love this very much.
Right, and Leah's the one who can do all of the Disney chalk art. You can see Wally there, and then you have like Incredibles artwork and just various Disney ones, but also a lot of other chalk art. But Lee, and she does, Lee or Lay, I'm not sure how she pronounces it. She does other other artwork as well, but she is one artist, 2D artist who can do Disney.
And look at how realistic, as I was getting closer. I mean, that face looks so real, and I guess they have a little picture that they work off, but I was very impressed just standing there and watching her in action.
And what I really like about the chalk art, it's sort of like going to Gaylord Palms and seeing ice, and then it goes away. The chalk art is here for a number of days, and then it rains, or it just starts fading away, and then they start fresh. So you really just see it for a very brief amount of time.
And there are obscure I would say obscure characters
a
with
lot of
Ben
them.
and Morph here. I mean, you certainly don't see them, although we did see Ben a couple years ago at Disneyland Paris as a
Well,
walk-around character, but it's not something you're going to see every day, that's
Well,
for
he
sure.
wasn't really walking around. He was in the parade, in
Right.
the 25th anniversary parade, which was amazing. And they had a lot of rare characters in that. That was the best day ever in any Disney park for me.
So we're going to look at the flower quilt.
Right, there's two flower quilts. This one is the second one. And we're going to see, oh, and here is the main one with the imagination in the background. Now, these should be winter flowers, and usually they have 2 plantings, maybe 3 plantings now that it's 3 months. But because we're not really having winter now, I'm going to if I see
You'll
Eric
ask
Darden,
Mr. Eric,
yes,
yes.
if I interview him, I
Right
am
to the
going to
top.
ask him about that because it will be interesting to see if those flowers change really soon.
So we went and we visited some friends at Epcot, Grace and Tom. We had a great time with them. And while we were there, we saw that they had pandas here in China. So it was very nice to see the pandas, but it was just pandas. So we ended up going back the very next day, and there were a lot more than just pandas.
I stalked the Flower and Garden Festival really hard.
You do every year.
In the couple of weeks leading up to it. This year it's a little later than it was last year. Last year I think it started on February 28th, but this year it starts on March 3rd.
Oh, this was
yes,
also here.
yes. This is in Morocco, and I don't know if they're like spices. I think that's what the balls with spices. So there were little things that day, but the next day, all of a sudden you had a total of like 15 topiaries, which was awesome. So March 6th through June 3rd is the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. This is absolutely my favorite event of the year and my favorite time of the year.
A little bit of a later start, as you mentioned, and now this is the next day. The first thing we saw were these Winnie the Pooh characters, and this is a somewhat new location for them. This is an area where sometimes you would see tick-tock clock.
TikTok Croc.
Croc.
Wait. Croc.
Croc, yes.
And, but we've also seen Captain Hook over here.
Yes,
We've seen Peter Pan like up on the building. But as we were walking toward UK, you're like, oh, I don't see anything.
Yeah, because I expected to see them in their usual place. I think this is a much better place for the Pooh characters.
For lighting. And I have seen Winnie the Pooh on this side in this area maybe almost 10 years ago. But the rest of them I don't remember over here. And here is Rabbit. And it was really hard in previous years to get good pictures of them because of the lighting. So this ends up being a really terrific area.
And I think the Rabbit and some of the other characters came about when they had that somewhat new Winnie the Pooh movie in almost 10 years ago now.
And I really like going to, when the Epcot International Flower and Garden starts especially, I like to, and there's Peter Pan and Captain Hook, I really like to go to the festival early. I like to get there at 9 a.m. I like to go to France for the bakery.
And look at how detailed Captain Hook's face. Captain Hook has an incredible face, and you'll see a big contrast when you see Peter Pan's face, which has really not much face at all.
And Captain Hook did not used to have much of a face, or if any face, so he has... it's become more detailed through the years. His face actually wouldn't be topiary.
But look
and
at
actually,
this.
Peter Pan's not
Peter
either, I don't
Pan
think.
needs to get some eyes and a mouth, I say.
Hopefully at some point. But you can see what part of him is topiary. You know, all of the figures, there's parts of them that are growing and parts of them that are not growing. Captain Hook, he has that sort of that next generation face, so it wouldn't be growing. Now they have the teacups out there, and you're like, oh, that's not tea yet, and that's right. I mean, it's just plants, I guess, so far.
Right, just placeholders until they can plant the real tea plants, and that'll be closer to the festival beginning.
And I always enjoy the tea tour, and they have a paid tea tour, which we've talked about, and I enjoyed that as well. Now, Elsa and Anna, because Frozen 2 has now had a trailer, I think they're more popular than ever. I put up Elsa, and all of a sudden there's like 5,000 likes on my Instagram, which has never happened. So it's really fun to see that, you know, people are, this is a 5th year for them.
And so well done. I mean, these are incredibly lifelike, very, very beautiful.
And they're called like a next gen face, which Snow White got first, and then Beauty and the Beast ended up,
Belle
got. But they have had it for the 5 years. They've never been just standard topiaries without the face.
And here is the troll, the Norway troll. It started to rain a little bit, so I had to shoot just the troll with my phone. I have to say the iPhone does a pretty good job with the video in the rain.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, we got a little weather that day, but it wasn't too bad. Now, usually here in America, we see Buzz. No, not Buzz Lightyear.
Woody.
Woody.
This is where Woody is usually.
Buzz is usually over by Mission Space, but they're going to have Mickey and Minnie are here in America. They're going to have a Toy Story 4 topiary display, including Bo Peep and her sheep. So that will be like a big new thing this year. And also in the Disney Visa brochure, it says there's going to be a Kermit the Frog on a bicycle. So
I cannot wait for that. Remember, Kermit the Frog has appeared before with Miss Piggy, so that'll be very interesting.
Also at Downtown Disney, or now Disney Springs, after the Flower and Garden Festival a number of years ago. So that will be very interesting. But the flower quilt looks really nice, really very vibrant. And just when this comes about 3 weeks before the festival, it's always a lot of fun.
So let's take a look at the entrance plaza to Epcot, because while we were there at Epcot, there was a big announcement, and this entrance plaza is going to be changing for the better, I might add, as well as they are going to do a update to the old Wonders of Life pavilion.
Well, Epcot, a lot of Epcot is undergoing a transformation. I mean, we're having Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, we're having Remy, or the Ratatouille ride, like in Disneyland Paris. This entrance area is going to be more like the old one.
And here it is. Here is some concept art of the new the new entrance area, and I really like the fact that I can see little topiary is added there, and I've heard that it'll be year-round topiary.
It will be interesting to see if that's what happened, and we do see year-round topiary at Disney's Hollywood Studios. They've had it for years and years and years, where you have like right now it's Fantasia, but it's not always been Fantasia.
And all of these we recognize. I mean, there's the Pooh topiary we just saw right there, so very interesting.
But I wouldn't, it could be
concept
anything.
art, right.
Yeah, it's concept. And the Leave a Legacy monoliths will be, I think, a little more outside the gate. So they're still going to be up. I think they were promised for 20 years. And I was thinking, oh, well, it's 20 years now. But some guests bought them.
I bought one. I have one, and I'm very glad that they're doing this. No problem. And out of the gate is even better.
But if some guests bought it like 15 years ago, then it's not yet 20, and that's probably why they're still keeping them.
So let's look at this fountain. You see the classic fountain up there? We just showed a close-up shot of it. Here are some vintage pictures I took of the original acrylic display on the fountain, and I think we're going to see something like that returning, or at least it'll be very similar.
That's what it looks like. So I'm really excited about that, to see, to see more of a classic Epcot. It's been so long, and when the Leave It Legacy went in, they weren't that popular. It wasn't popular.
It's more of a somber entrance, where this was more beautiful, and I think it'll be wonderful if it's done correct, and I have no reason to think it won't.
And of course, right now when I enter Epcot, I don't think somber thoughts. When things change, that's when you're starting to think that, but now it's just what everybody's used to. But I think that will be much nicer.
So now we're looking at some concept art for the Play Pavilion. It's not officially named that, but that's what Disney is saying, and this is in the location of the former Wonders of Life Pavilion.
And we've been in there not only as a Wonders of Life, but it has been a festival center for years and years. But it will include hands-on activities and character experiences, immersive and interactive. It's like an immersive and interactive city. I'm not quite sure totally what that means, but there will be more information coming. So it's something that's coming down the road. Again, no name or anything yet.
Well, I think it'll be very nice. I mean, it sounds like there'll be meet and greets in there, and things to do, games, stuff like that. So I am all for it. I think it'll be good.
Well, to have all of the pavilions maybe actually have something in them year round would be very nice.
Right.
So,
this has been sitting there most of the year for years doing nothing. So absolutely.
and then you have the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster next door, which, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the Ratatouille ride coming here. Even though I love seeing it in Paris, I really am looking forward to seeing it more France represented in World Showcase.
And I just noticed as we're talking, Mickey himself is exploring the pavilion. See him there, just kind of wandering, holding hands with one of the guests. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe it's his first time there.
That's very true.
So, you know what? It'll be nice to see. It'll be nice to see it.
And look at this. This is some video that you captured in the morning, early morning.
But they weren't even moving, and I know they were later in the day while I was on the tour. But I just wanted to show so many gondolas on, for the Disney Skyliner were on the line. I think I counted 14 or 16 of them.
So why were you there so early before rope drop?
Well, we were invited by Disney to do the Star Wars guided tour, although it was just for one of us, so I ended up doing it. And right now we're looking at guests. This has nothing to do with the tour, but I just found it interesting watching. It's sort of like the rope drop, or it's getting guests, I think probably for the Toy Story land.
Very civilized, though.
Morning.
Very civilized. I'm taking it these are your tour guides there?
Yes, Hannah and Darian. Hannah was so enthusiastic, and she was the one who did a lot of the speaking, but we learned quite a bit. And we do have a video, a highlights video, that has more information on it. I don't want to say more information, but more 8 or 9 minutes of it.
I like how they use the lightsabers sort of as a guide for the group there. Very nice.
And here they're just kind of talking about the Easter eggs and Star Tours, but they told a lot of stories. And here Hannah's telling us how her favorite character is Jar Jar Binks, and I think it lost everybody for a second. No,
maybe she does it just to shock people.
And then we went to Star Wars Launch Bay. There's a lot. It's in some ways a very fast-moving tour in that you go and you do this and you do this, and there's no waits really for anything. But it's nice also in that they have a lot of restroom breaks. I know we're looking at characters here.
There's Chewie and there's you.
Yes, I don't really like being on video too much. But I just had them hold the video camera, and I met Chewbacca, and then we went and met Kylo Ren, and we're also going to see BB-8. So Kylo Ren, he is not as cuddly as BB-8 is. So
I cut out the best part because of your orders there when you were having your little discussion with Mr. Ren.
He said that I could be of some help,
Yes.
and I'm like, what? I don't think so.
But it's very cute, you with BB-8. I like that.
And I had never met BB-8 before. So you have, but I had not. And here is the March of the First Order, which we actually ended up in. That is part of the tour, is that you march behind Captain Phasma and the Stormtroopers.
And when you originally said you were in it, I thought they dressed you all up as Stormtroopers.
No.
Now, that would have been entertainment at its finest. But this is pretty cool right here as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really big on being in, where everybody's staring at me. So
you're usually the one doing the pictures, not having the picture
Yes.
taken of. So it's a reversal for you.
Well, it's sort of both, because I'm still taking photos and
video.
video.
Look at that. I'm so impressed that you were able to do photos with your big, heavy 35mm type camera and video. So you did a great job doing all of it.
I did. I mean, I took not as many photos, obviously, as I normally would, but I took quite a lot of video. We went to the Backlot Express for lunch. That's part of the tour. The tour costs $99, and then you can get 15% off if you're a pass holder or a Disney Visa card holder or DVC.
And we ended up with one of those Darth Vader helmets there, and I guess that's your little name tag I saw you have.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a name. I don't know what they call it, but you get this badge, and I mean, you get lunch.
Churro.
Yes, a churro, a lightsaber churro. There's quite a bit that is included for the price. And then what I really liked about it is that, like, during lunch, you have the Stormtroopers coming through, and he'd be like going from person to person and making sure everybody gets a photo with them and everything.
There you go. It's sort of like a character lunch, but he chooses you. So
Yes.
It's very different than when we do our princess lunches or the other type of characters.
And I know that a lot of the components are things that guests have already done, but things like that I think really make the tour. And also you didn't have to wait for lunch because we ordered it ahead of time, and it was just very nice. And then we went to Walt Disney Presents, and we looked at the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge models, and we weren't here for very long. I will say it's better to go on Slinky Dog Coaster after you do this too, and go and look at the real thing, so you can do both. And it's really looking good over there.
And did they give you this great spot? I see you're in the very front here for the Galaxy Far, Far Away show.
We showed up about 3 minutes before the show started, and then we had the VIP area. So it's really nice, and like I said, it's like you get someplace, and then all of a sudden it starts. And that was really nice.
So I was able to go with you to the second component, which was the dessert party.
Well, this is not part of the tour.
Just the viewing area. I guess you do get the viewing area
You
location.
do. So if you are taking the tour, you do get the same viewing area that we received for the dessert party, which is really nice at night. And I actually love that area. I know for photos and video, for video, it's not quite as good.
We'll talk about it when we get there.
But
there are very, very good elements to it.
But I'm 5'4", so being able to be up close to the Chinese theater was really nice.
And you could see where our little seating area was here, very close to the characters. And you were able to actually meet now. The commander on the bridge was Kylo Ren. And since you already met him, we opted to skip that. We have both met Kylo, and we wanted to have more time with this very important component, which is the food component.
Right. And the Star Wars Galactic Spectacular Dessert Party. I thought this was very nice and not as long as the tour. I think we were in the food area for about an hour before we were taken out.
Hour and 15, I think. About an hour and 15.
Okay. And there's a variety of desserts, but they also had some fruit, like mixed fruit. And they also had, you saw the hummus and
oh yeah, I like the fact that they have savory, because there's only so much dessert I can eat. So the hummus and the ham and all that, the cheeses, that was really something I enjoyed.
And this is one of the, I don't want to say stars of the show, but warm bread pudding is one of them. And you really
so
like
good.
that
And it
too.
comes with a giant scoop of ice cream, vanilla. There it is in that big bucket. And you can add some M&Ms like this young man there. And I took his lead and
I
did the
asked
same.
for just a little bit of ice cream. And this is the freeze-fried chocolate hazelnut mousse, which actually I liked.
Oh,
Probably
so good.
better than anything. This was my favorite item. I didn't end up having either of the chocolate or I think it was raspberry.
I made up for that. I had both.
So, I mean, they really have some fun desserts here, not just the standard cupcakes and such, that really have the little theming on them as well.
And you can see they have some coffee here and tea, and there's some water, Coke products.
Right, and they also have alcohol items and something that's sort of like a jungle juice, which I didn't end up having, and that's over there.
I think it was exactly like a jungle juice. They call it jettison juice.
Passion orange guava juice with mango syrup. So probably I didn't end up partaking in that. So there was a good amount of drinks, but also if you were an adult, you can have the margarita, a light speed margarita. There's also a cosmic citrus twist and a galactic punch, which has a few of those items that are in the somewhat jungle juice type
Well,
drink.
it just happened to be Margarita Day when we were there, so I think it was just appropriate for us to celebrate Margarita Day.
Right, and I had one. I think, it was a little sweet for me to have more than one, but I ended up with water after that. But it was really a nice amount of different items, and then they had wine and beer too.
And you can see the Stormtroopers are mixing and mingling, which is very nice, very similar to what you had earlier in your lunch. And that is my margarita drink there. And there is the savory items I mentioned. I'm just showing some of the food up close with a little better lighting so you can see in the presentation with the little plates they give you.
Well, I like the mozzarella, and I think it has basil in it, and that was something that I went back for a couple times. And here is a Stormtrooper, and they just kind of go from table to table and make sure to see everybody.
And here is a closer look at the other two alcoholic drinks. You have the Cosmic Citrus Twist and the Galactic Punch.
And I'll mention while we're looking at this that the dessert party for adults is $79, and that includes tax and gratuity, and $45 for children. That includes, and that would be 3 to 9, and that would include tax and gratuity. And so all of this would be included in that. And we're looking right now at your, we were given this, like Jeff was invited to come with me after I had done the guided tour.
Yeah, again, it was very nice. We appreciated the opportunity to check it out. We have done a Star Wars dessert party when they very first started, and that in those days it was outside. So I much preferred had it here in Launch Bay in the air-conditioned splendor.
We got seats, which was really nice
seats
too.
are wonderful, and they were actually assigned seats, so you guaranteed you could get late and you'd have a seat.
Right. I mean, I just thought that was very nice. I liked the inside. I liked I liked having seats. It was really well organized.
So anyway, at a certain point, they line you up and you're walked over here. You're actually given a Darth Vader mug, another Darth Vader
Yes,
mug.
so we had three. We have three.
But and then this is where the actual viewing area is, right in front of the Chinese theater there, and you have some very official guards to make sure that you have the correct credential to get in.
Stormtroopers all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was told, and I asked twice to make sure that this area also, like if you took the Star Wars guided tour, this would also be your area. And again, for video purposes, it may not be as good as some areas, but for me to actually see the theater and then to see the fireworks over the theater, I actually really liked it.
Well, as far as the projection and comfort level, this cannot be beat. I mean, I could stretch my arms out. I had plenty of room. There was nobody in front of me. I was in the very front. The only thing you couldn't see is the fireworks, the big fireworks that they shoot up. The theater itself kind of blocks those. But if you're into wanting to see the projections and really see the detail, that is the way to go for that.
And also, we're watching Disney Movie Magic. We're brought out just before that starts. But it won't always be Disney Movie Magic. I think that replacing it will be Wonderful World of Animation coming in May for the 30th anniversary of Disney's Hollywood Studios. Also, like the guided tour will probably in a year not be, $99. And if they have the guided tour, I don't know if they will or not. But once
Galaxy's Edge comes,
that
would be the guided tour to take.
Yes, and I think then it would skyrocket if they decide even to do a tour. So we'll see what happens with that.
And this is the main event here. It is the Star Wars fireworks.
And I think this was the most enjoyable time I have ever had watching this show because again, I'm 5'4". If I'm behind one person, I'm behind everybody. So this was just a really nice way for me to see it. And
you could have sat.
It was fun.
You could have actually sat.
Most of the guests were sitting, so I tried to be a little bit off to the right so that I wasn't in anybody's way. But it was really fun. Like I have not seen all these projections before on a Chinese theater.
And you can really feel it in your chest. I mean, the sound was spectacular because you have the speakers right there. I mean, you can feel when the big fire flames come, it is really hot on your face, just like Illuminations.
I mean, it reminded me of, like of Illuminations or in Disneyland Paris. What is that attraction that I don't like?
Oh, Armageddon.
That there's so much heat to that as well. So anyway, we're just kind of watching. You see BB-8 and then you'll see the porg because I don't even remember seeing this part before. And I love that the porg goes like on his head.
I think during the original version of this, there was no porg, of course. So this was added when they updated the show. But I've never seen the detail as well as here. So I thought that was really nice.
I really like the way they did this where we were inside Launch Bay and then came out and we got this area. But I'm going to talk about the guided tour just for a second. Again, this is your location. And because we did the dessert party, it's something I have to remember that this is also part of the guided tour. And there's the element of the Jedi Training Academy, which is something that I don't have kids.
Right,
so
you were offered. You could have gone.
I could have had a reserved spot.
A Padawan. Your Padawan could have been
if I had a Padawan
enrolled in the Jedi training, and you could have had a spot. Reserved spot, which is to me, that is a huge selling point if you're trying to get kids in there.
Right, and parents, kids can enroll in Jedi Training Academy without the tour, but you have to get there early, and you have to make sure that you have to sign up early and hope to get in. Where they're just enrolled, and then you get the reserved viewing area.
So overall, how would you rate the tour and or the dessert party?
I really like the tour a lot. I am a moderate, everybody knows I'm a moderate Star Wars fan. I am not, so it was fun to learn things. It was really fun to just see everything in a VIP sort of way, and that's what I really liked about it. And also just like the Stormtroopers during lunch, like that was really fun. If I had to choose either dessert party or tour, let's say you only can do one, I would take the tour. But I enjoyed the dessert party too. So it really depends on what you want to do. Like maybe you want to do both, or maybe you just want to do the dessert party. I just, it really just comes down to what you want to do.
And with that, that is another show.
That's another show, and we really appreciate it. Also, we had a contest, and we picked 2 names. We had quite a few entries.
So many correct entries. I'm so impressed with our audience. Everyone was right that I corrected.
And I really appreciate everybody entering, and I wish we could send stuff to everybody. We picked 2 names, Ryan Teets and Rick Coyne. Just send us your address, and we still have to choose what we're sending. We have no idea.
And they send it to the same email address?
Yes, they can send it to the same email address.
I will put together a nice prize pack for both.
And I will help. And anyway, thanks to our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We really appreciate their sponsorship. Check them out. Sign up for their mailing list. And
you can go to the site, fill out a no obligation quote. They could help you out for any Disney travel worldwide.
And other travel too, like Universal Studios. Anyway, we're going to talk about now. I will be doing a preview of the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival on Wednesday, and we will be talking about what I learned there. And we have Maria and Enzo's on Monday night, the Carnival.
Carnival, cannot wait for that. That'll be fun.
And I'm not sure what else next week yet, but that's 2 big things, and I'm sure there'll be at least something else popping up.
Well, let's not forget about Busch Gardens, the food and wine festival out there at Busch Gardens. We haven't been there in a while. Plus, we're going to see a ride vehicle for their new roller coaster and some other surprises. So that'll be very exciting as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fair bit coming up next week, so I'm looking forward to it.
Anyway, 301 shows. Thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.